Let's take to the seas now, because we've had some really, I suppose, interesting revelations from Dubai police about the number of accidents that are happening around the coast of the UAE. I suppose around the coast of Dubai specifically. And in the first half of this year, the Emirate experienced nearly 80 boat collisions, and there were 10 rescue missions. And now the police also registered 270-odd documented violations, something that they say indicates a significant need for those stringent sort of safety and compliance measures. Now, the waterways around Dubai are very busy indeed, both with pleasure traffic and also, frankly, trade. I mean, there's dhows, there's those huge container ships. You know, there's a lot going on. And joining me now to find out more about what can be done to reduce accidents is Captain Zarir Irani. He's Managing Director of Constellation Marine Services for Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Fujairah. So lovely to have you join us in the studio. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for having us.
It's such a pleasure. Now, you're normally on the Business Breakfast, but we have stolen you away from them for this interview. And I want to find out how marine police find out, first of all, that there is a boat in trouble. For example, a pleasure craft in trouble.
So every pleasure craft has got a compulsory tracking device which is got to be placed on board at the time of its first registration and annual registration. It's done by the Coast Guard, so the boat's got to be taken there. It is got the details of the owner, the number, and all the other required details. It has a DT number as well. So that's how. So it is monitored. That device transmits signals to a central command station, and whenever a distress is activated, they know exactly, and they talk to the owner and they activate it. So it's a great. This is for boats. This is for pleasure crafts. But a few years ago, they made jet skis compulsorily registered in the Middle East as well, UAE as well. So that's helped as well. So every jet ski's got, like a car, a registration card, and that also helps to track if they are abandoned, if they're just drifting away, they know whom to get in touch with. That's how they get in.
That's good news, because personally, anyone who's listened to this programme for a while will know I'm a bit of a jet ski Karen. I don't like them. I like to yell at them. I feel that they're awful, and we've had that conversation a lot on the radio. So I'm not gonna do it now. But with my skewed view of jet skis, of course, I imagine that there's often lots of problems with them. There probably isn't. That's just how I approach the topic. How about these sort of rescue responses? Are there benchmarks around the world? Do we fulfill them? Do we meet them here? Are we very good at rescuing people?
Oh yes. Like you have patrol cars on the streets, we have patrol boats out there. The marine police have they are these hotspots, so to say, where they usually have a concentration. One of them is right here across at the DubaiEye.
Yeah.
That's quite a hot spot for boats to just drift around, hang, take pictures with tourists, etc. So there is always a good eye on what's going on. The radar systems on the coastline are fantastic. They know exactly which vessel is doing what, and for those skippers who are listening, they also know that when you are going to those no-go areas and also maneuvering in a strange way, which is not according to the rules of the road, which are internationally benchmarked, and there are navigation rules just like you have rules on the road.
So you're being watched, in other words. And along those lines, are the boat skippers here competent enough, do you think? Do they get decent enough training?
Look, my answer is going to be biased. I have a MC8 license to navigate globally on, and I have done my sea time of 36 months minimum to get through each stage, second mates and masters. And I still have my certificate competency valid from the MC until 27. And when I see courses in Dubai for boat skippers being offered for 2,500 dirhams, and over 2 days you get a boat skipper's license.
My neighbour did it last weekend. 2 days.
Would you go out with him with the boat in?
Well, he won't be listening because he'll be in his office. But the answer to that is no, I wouldn't. I'm too nervous.
That's why.
Yeah.
The simple answer is I don't think that is enough. That's just probably an introduction. You'd probably learn to operate a toy boat with a remote control in a swimming pool in those 2 days. But I don't think so. That's why my answer is biased. It took me 11 months in South Shields to do my master's certificate of competency.
Cold waters
indeed.
in the north of England.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can incidents be avoided or reduced, do you think? I've got about a minute left with you.
Yes. So, look, I can benchmark this with the U.S. Coast Guard. They have a 8-week course, and at the end of it, somebody from the Coast Guard will interview the trainees and have a viva with them and get on with it. So I think the yachting industry and the boating industry is its toddler age at the moment in the Middle East as compared to the Monacos and the Cypresses and the Maltas of the world. So it's still early days, and I think the administration, the FTA and the DMCA should have a one-on-one with these who are passing out of these courses. I know the IYT have a 4-day course for vessels up to 24 meters to be able to skip those boats, but I think even 4 days is too less, and not everyone gets it in 4 days to understand the gravity, because there are lives on board. I mean, look at the driving classes you have on the roads. I mean, to be able to get a driving license, you have such long, stringent rules. And I think there should be a little bit more from the authorities on it. And that should help bring down the numbers that you just mentioned at the beginning of the show.
Last question. Very naughty of me to ask it because I'm late for the news. But if you had to choose between the Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah or Fujairah coast, which waters are safer and why?
Look, I have my company registered in Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Fujairah, so I'll say all three. But then I'll be a little biased because I've been more out in the Abu Dhabi waters and in Dubai waters. The charm is completely different.
Yeah.
The risks are completely different. Abu Dhabi is more islands and more shoals. You've got to worry about shallow waters.
Sandbanks. Yeah, you could just drive into a sandbank, couldn't you?
Yes, that's the worry there. So there's a different kind of watch you got to keep for safety there. While at Dubai, you got to keep your eyes on the waters, because you might find some jet skier suddenly come in the front of you, or you might have somebody speeding away and coming on a collision course with you, while you want to see the landscape and the lovely skylines of Dubai while you're coasting here. So there are different risks, but I would say between the three you mentioned, I would definitely. But then Fujairah has its own charm. It is high seas. The waves are bigger. It's for the big boys, for the big ships.
Big fishing.
Big fishing, yes. So that's
hard to say. So hard to say. They're very different waters. That's what's so interesting. In such a small area, we have such different waters. Really fascinating stuff. Well, next time I go on a boat, unless you're there to help, I'm not doing it, basically.
Happy to come. Happy to come.
Captain Zarir Irani, lovely to have you join us on the agenda. Thank you so much for your insights. Really fascinating stuff. Captain Zarir Irani is Managing Director of Constellation Marine Services in, as he's just said, Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Fujairah.